Oh, okay, I'm going to say this. This is not a part of the presentation. My business Facebook got hacked this last fall. If you take anything from this session, it's to go home, change your passwords, and turn on two-factor authentication on every single social media platform you are on. It was a pain, and the only way I was able to get through it is because my husband works for an advertising agency that has a Facebook rep who saw my desperate email to him and saw my phone number, and he was from the town I grew up in. That's the only reason he went out of his way to help me out. And if it happens to any of you and you don't have that weird Lord shining his light on your heart, you have to start over. It was horrible. So go home, turn on two-factor authentication on all of your things, and change your passwords. We're done here. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, my sister-in-law 2 weeks ago, same thing happened, and she lost her whole business because she saw
Exactly.
Instagram.
Yeah.
It makes children's clothes, and
It's
they're closing the company now because of that. They can't get it back.
That's devastating. I fully understand. It's too big of a company to like get through. So thank you for echoing that, because it is rough. But that being said, once you have that two-factor authentication on, it's a great place to be because people are there. And we're not just promoting other ministries. You really are doing ministry on social media. There are other reasons right here. So why should churches be on social media? You can be a positive, truth-filled, and Christ-centered voice in a absolutely crazy environment. We all have been on social media in the last 3 years. SOS. It's wild out there. And if we are truth-centered and Christ-centered and being a hope-filled space, even if you're not seeing like the engagement numbers that you want, that's huge. You are impacting the people who are scrolling. It's an extension of your website. It is a way for new people to find you. We're going to be talking about that a lot more. It's a way to stay connected to people who are in a season of being unwilling or unable to step inside the doors of your church. This might not be the people who are homebound because of retirement. They might not be on social media. But we all know COVID changed our churches and changed the people there. And you might still be able to speak into those people who are still following you on social media. You might be that consistent bug in their ear they see once every couple weeks while they're scrolling. And maybe that's enough that when your pastor reaches out with a phone call, they still feel that tether, you know? And then finally, it's a way to connect with your people between Sundays. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the best ways that you can engage with the people who are actively a part of your community on those social media platforms as well. And you can just kind of reiterate things that they've been learning between the weekends. You can reiterate fun things coming up. You can remind them you exist. So, there's a lot of things going on in everybody's life. And just to be like, hey, remember us? Hope to see you Sunday. That can go a long way. So now we're just going to walk through some of the social media platforms out there, and I'm going to tell you why I think you should or should not put your time and energy into each one, okay? We're going to make your lives even easier. There's a lot of social medias out there. You do not need to worry about all of them.
Thank you.
Woo! Twitter. Twitter is a really fun platform for really snarky, funny commentary, for news, for really thoughtful essays cut up into, 140, 240 characters. It's not a bad platform to be on. It is not worth it for a church, in my opinion. If you want to be on it, feel free. If that's where you want to put your time and energy, put some quotes from Sunday, put Bible verses, that's totally fine. I don't think that a church is going to be very effective or reach very far on Twitter because of the way Twitter is working. If you want your church presence on there, I would suggest knowing who your pastor is, and if he is someone who is healthy on social media, say, hey, how about you go make your own personal profile and you can be the voice of the church, because a personal touch on Twitter goes a lot farther than a brand, unless you're Wendy's or Moon Pie and you can be smart, snarky, and funny, and that's just not the voice of the church. We might be hilarious, but we can't be that snarky on the internet, okay? Don't be snarky on the internet. Next, YouTube. YouTube is a really great social media platform. It really, really is. It's a huge search engine for people. You can get a lot of good content out there. But this is social media for dummies. And YouTube takes, I think, another level of audio and video knowledge and know-how to break through the noise. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. Unless you have the resources and the team, someone on your staff or in your volunteer crew who is passionate about that and able to really lean into that, I wouldn't put your eggs and energy and time into that basket. What it can be, what we use is, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, we just use it for streaming.
Yes, it's great for streaming services. We use it as an archive for our services. We still put stuff on it, but I don't have a strategy behind it. We tried to do like YouTube videos for a while. That's my pastor back there. And it ate up a lot of time and energy that I did not feel like was worth it for what we were getting out of it. So, you know your staff and your volunteers better. Feel free to say absolutely not. We're going to put our eggs in the YouTube basket, but I personally wouldn't worry about it. Except for if you're using it for streaming and stuff like that. Yeah. Be Real. Be Real is the newest social media pal on the block. It's actually, I think, one of the healthiest social media platforms for people to be on. If you have a youth pastor or minister in your congregation, I would suggest they get on it personally. If you have front-facing staff, I suggest maybe they get on it personally who are working with youth, because that's where the youth are. I wouldn't worry about it for your church, because it really is like you get 3 minutes, take your photo, and it's going to end up being your social media, not the church's, and that's not necessary.
When you say youth, do you mean college and high school? Or
Yeah,
do you mean, okay.
yeah. I would say, so that's a good question.
Gen Z.
Gen Z, I know like some millennials are starting to get into it, but I wouldn't worry about it unless you're high school or college really front-facing with the youth. As an organization, as a business, don't need to worry about it. How do we feel? That's already 3 social media platforms we do not need to worry about. Yes.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
So if you are any of you youth? Do any of you do? Okay. So if you choose to get it for youth and you don't have it, be prepared to see things that your youth are doing that maybe you're uncomfortable with, or maybe and decide. Do you let them be kids or do you call them
Yeah.
out? Because that's a weird thing. Because
Yeah.
if you call them out, then, I don't know. So just be prepared.
That's a great point. And I didn't put Snapchat on here, but I actually feel very similarly to Snapchat as I do Be Real, that it's hard to do as an organization. If you want to have that connection with your people, feel free. But if you're just running your church's page, don't worry about it. 4 for 4. Boom. Okay, now, but there are some I think are worth it. Okay, so Facebook. Facebook. It seems like most of you are on Facebook, so at least have some type of knowledge of how it works. Facebook is a really big social media platform for boomers, Gen X, a lot of millennials. I am on it. I don't love it. I deleted it for a couple years and then realized I couldn't do my job very well because I no longer knew what Facebook was doing. So I had to get it back. But a lot of people in our churches are going to be on Facebook. Whether or not they're actively using it, it is a way that you can point people to your pages. It's great for events, really great for events, to get out in the community. I know people who just type in their city events and see what's going on that week, and your church's stuff will pop up depending on how big of a city you're in or whatever. And then it's great for Facebook groups, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And these are, the next 3 I'm going to talk about are all good for reaching new people, which we'll talk about more, like I said, later. Okay, Instagram. I also think it's worth it for your church to be on Instagram. Again, this is used as a search engine. It is really big for millennials, Gen X, and you still get some Gen Z on there. Instagram stories are a great way to stay connected with the people in your community. Yeah, I think Instagram is definitely a worthwhile place for your church to be.
I have 2 quick questions.
Yes.
One, will you go over the practical difference between posts and stories?
Yes, I can do that.
Because I don't get it.
Okay. Actually, do you want me to do that right now?
And, well, let me ask the second question. The second question is, do you need to have a separate strategy for Instagram than you do for Facebook, or is it okay enough to just mirror them
I'm going to talk about,
simultaneously?
I will talk
Okay.
about that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, I'm also going to talk about posts and stories, but I'll quickly say a little bit about that. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep, because I am going to, okay. Woo!
Okay, we'll come back to it. Great.
I am definitely going to hit that up. Great.
Okay.
Great question. There are dumb questions. That was a great one. I'm just kidding. There's no dumb questions. Just kidding. There's no dumb questions. Okay, third, I actually do think it's worth it to be on TikTok. Here's why it's not scary, and I'll tell you, because a lot of these platforms are going to be able to overlap in ways that they have not been able to before. What I'm saying now, I would not have said last year. But it doesn't have to be quite as scary. I'm 30 years old. I'm too old for TikTok. But we're there. We're figuring it out. People are hearing the gospel because the 30-year-old is doing her best. But TikTok is really big for Gen Z. It's really big for millennials, thanks to our boredom in COVID and trying to be cool like the cool kids. And it's also a really great place for reaching new people. And it is a search engine for people who are younger.
And we use it, we're planning on using it for like bite-sized PD, so we run an early learning center. So like bite-sized PD or bite-sized like, here's what parents need to know, or like just little nuggets.
What's PD?
Professional development.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yes,
So,
that's a
like,
good idea.
This is how you would, this is what social emotional support looks like in the classroom, or something for parents, like this is how you calm a tantrum.
That's great.
So just because it's quick.
Yep, yep,
Because people don't have the attention spans anymore.
yep.
Don't dance.
Oh, if you don't dance, don't worry about it. No, just kidding.
Children.
All of my feed is teacher talk right now.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not even a teacher.
Oh, I really enjoy seeing what TikTok thinks I am. I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, so like I said, all of these last three social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, overlap in some really surprising ways. And I'm going to share the first way. This is your first practical hack, okay? Isn't it cute? Little dinosaur? First impressions are huge because all three of these platforms are search engines. People are going to Google your church or churches in the area. They're going to find your website. This is true. They're also going to scroll down and see your Facebook is probably the second or third link on that Google page. They're also going to go straight to Facebook while they're already on Facebook and search your church. They're going to go on Instagram. I go to Instagram before I go to Google for any business. I'm interested, if I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going to Instagram or Yelp to scroll through and see what the vibe is. My husband does not agree. He cares more about the food. I care more about the vibe. But people are using these social media platforms as search engines. Gen Z is going to TikTok to search your church, not Google. So here's how to make a good first impression. On all three of these apps, make your profile picture the simplest, most recognizable version of your logo. It doesn't need to be a collage of all the people in your church. It doesn't need to be your most recent sermon series. The most recognizable version of your logo. Your profile picture does not need to change until they decide to change your logo. Wow! You don't do it one time, you're done. That's great.
We have a logo.
If you don't have a logo,
Get a look.
get a logo. That's a great point. Get a logo. Okay, if you don't have a logo, I would maybe do like your church building. Just whatever is most. You do have that? Great. What is the most recognizable way for people to see you on the internet? For most people, that's going to be your logo. That's going to be what they see. If not, I would put your church building. Okay, on all apps, put your church's name and the city that it's in. I like to spy on other churches, and it's really annoying to me when I type in Messiah, and I have no idea what Messiah I'm looking at because you did not put your city
Ontario.
in the name. Yeah. So this is some examples of what we're doing on Instagram and TikTok. We have right here the Point Church downtown Knoxville. So if anyone's typing in churches in downtown Knoxville, they're going to see our page come up because this is searchable. Your name, don't just put your church's name, put the whole thing right in the name because that's what people can search. Yeah, and do that on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. On all of these apps, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, in the bio, add whatever is relevant for your church. If that's your mission, if that's a relevant tagline, either of those are totally fine. Just kind of give a first 0.5-second grasp of who your church is. Also put your service times, and then put your website link. You can do this one time and never change it until the church decides to change what that is. Okay? And this is what a lot of people are going to come to your page looking for. So we're just going to make it quick and easy for them. Totally good.
Are you going to share your slides?
I can share my slides, yeah.
Yeah.
I was insecure about it, so I didn't. But if you guys like them, I'll put them up there. Okay, great. Yes?
Really quick question. What if you already have a presence on Facebook that does not have your church's name and city in it?
Put it in the bio. So even if it's not your name, ours is actually not our name. When I got our Facebook, it already just said the Point Knox, which is, well, I guess it kind of says, that's handy. But in the bio section, that's when you can, in all caps, put, where did you say you're from?
Trinity, Norwalk, California.
Norwalk, California. Does your church, does it at least say Trinity in the name?
It says Trinity. I think it says Trinity C Norwalk or something.
Okay.
It's longer.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's clunky.
That's okay. Well, it's not ideal. I would keep it for now. I think that consistency is probably more important than shortening it. And then just work with the rest of this stuff in your bios and stuff like that. Yeah. Unless it doesn't affect I'll talk to you later. I don't want to but if it doesn't affect the website URL, then you're all good. But if it does, that's going to complicate things, I think, quite a bit. Okay. Did I give you more questions and answers?
No.
Great, okay. Okay. Did it go?
It's going.
Okay. And then this is not for all apps. This is just for Instagram. Put some relevant highlights on your profile page. So it should be really easy. Right here is a circle that looks like this that's going to have a plus sign. You can push that, and it's going to show all of your stories that you... Ah! Why'd that happen? That's a smart board? Woo! Don't look at that. That was so cool. I've never seen one of those. I felt like I was like Iron Man. Okay. There's a little, we'll see all the stories that you've had. It archives all the Instagram stories. And so you could be intentional with those stories that you're posting over the course of a week, maybe you can just like waterboard it and do it is that the right phrase? Anyway, in the course of like a couple days, and put your relevant highlights. So for us, we do our sermon series, our current sermon series, we do our upcoming events, we do little glimpses of Sunday morning. We have a parking highlight because our parking situation is absolutely atrocious. So I want anybody coming, if they're confused, to be able to quickly see what the parking situation is. And then for us, we do, we have a artist studio that meets up, or that takes over our second floor of our building, and we partner with them. We love what they're doing, and so I have a highlight of them as well, because people might be coming to us to find out more about them or just be interested in what they're doing. So for you, that might be your school, or if you have any type of like meetings that always happen that people are interested in. You know your context. This is all about doing what's best for your context.
How many highlights is too many?
You can do as many. I don't know that there is even a limit. I would keep it to maybe, 5 to 6, because otherwise you're scrolling to find it, and what you want it to be is a landing place for people to see immediately what they're looking for. I think 1 or 2 is weird, so at least do 4 or 5. But these are super easy. You can take a couple videos on Sunday, we'll talk more about that. Let them know what your sermon series is, or maybe it's like verses. If your church doesn't do, I know a lot of churches do like with the hymnal, the liturgy, the luxury. Wow. Now you guys are like, we're really not listening to her. Sorry, we do sermon series. But you can do upcoming events. You can do different ministries. I think glimpses into Sunday are really helpful. And then maybe just out in the community, if you are serving, just a couple ways for people to quickly get an idea of who your church is. So the goal is for anybody who comes to your social media platforms who searched you to go, oh, that's who they are. Oh, I feel like I kind of get to know them. You know, kind of the same as your website. It's a really helpful place to get to know your church. If you don't ever post and you do this, that's a really good step forward to be a welcoming place for new people to come. If you never want to post again, put one post, pin it right there that says, hey guys, we're not on here very often. If you want to get in touch with our church, head to our website or call us at whatever. Something that says this is a welcoming place. We're glad you're here. We're not dead and dusty. I don't love it when you come and you're like, does this church still exist? Is it still in operation? You don't want those kind of questions. That's uncomfortable. So if you can even do this, go home today, get it fixed up to be a welcoming place for people to land when they're searching for you, that's a huge step in the right direction. Okay, now, vocabulary lesson. Who has heard of the algorithm?
Dun, dun, dun.
The algorithm. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, a lot of people who are in the social media world and the communications world hate the algorithm. It's like the bad guy. The algorithm is from Satansville. Do you know what I mean? But it's actually not a bad guy. All the algorithm is it simply determines who is seeing your content when. Why isn't this... Do you think if I tap it like I did before?
No, it went forward because it was just delayed.
You've been pressing red.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's not a magic board.
I really felt...
There it goes.
Okay, here we go. The algorithm simply determines who is seeing your content when. That's all it is. And right now, we have a discovery algorithm, which means, and you've probably noticed it when you're scrolling, you're seeing people's content that you never followed. You're like, why am I seeing this person's content? That's because TikTok is the trendsetter, and all the social media platforms are following TikTok. And that's why I think it is important to have a presence on TikTok. Because, are you on TikTok?
No.
Ah, okay.
Instagram. Trying to see what the page looks like.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's a discovery algorithm, which means people are seeing your content whether or not they're following you. So your church in rural Florida, with 90% of people aren't on social media, you're still going to have people seeing your content and seeing the hope you're putting out there, the truth you're putting out there. And that's a really exciting place for us to be. Yes?
Can you choose your algorithm?
You cannot choose your algorithm.
Okay, so when you say right now we have a discovery algorithm, you're saying that Facebook has shifted to an algorithm where they're showing your stuff to people who don't follow you.
100%.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So,
Yes, we are currently living in a situation where the discovery algorithm is in charge. Yes?
Okay, just to add a little bit to it. So like on my personal Facebook feed, every once in a while it'll pop up with like a suggested post.
Yes.
That's what that discovery, and it'll be like, you've liked something similar to this, here is a whole completely different account that you've never seen that makes similar content.
Absolutely.
And puts into my feed, if you like it, you can follow it and interact with it and do that. And Instagram is starting to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And same with like reels and stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
How do you know you have a discovery algorithm?
Everyone does.
Yeah, that's just.
This is the direction that Facebook and Instagram and TikTok are making their platform, and we're just people utilizing their platform.
We're stuck with it.
We're stuck with it.
Now you can, on your Facebook account, you can do certain things, right, to help you control, but we don't need to talk about
Yeah.
that. We're not
Yes,
about
yes.
personal use here.
Yeah, this is all about organizations. But this is really exciting, and this is I'll go into more why this is these are good things. But whereas, like I said, if I did this last year, I would have said it's important to have different content for every platform. It's important to change it up, to make it work. You don't have to worry about that right now, because different people are going to see your content on every single platform. You can post the same thing on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and the same people will not be seeing that stuff. It will not be overlapping. Maybe it will once in a while, but we really don't have to worry about that the way we used to a couple years ago. So that's really good news for saving time and putting out quality content across the platforms instead of trying to put out tons of content that's handpicked for each platform. And most importantly, we're reaching people in our community and outside of our community with the gospel and with a hope-centered content, which is hard to find sometimes on the internet. And I'm going to quickly say this because I don't think I have this in the presentation. If anyone, hashtags are not something you need to stress out about or have like 30 or anything like we used to. It can be helpful to tell the algorithm what your content is with using keywords and hashtags. So if you are a church in Pensacola, you can hashtag Pensacola, and that might help it not necessarily be discovered all over America, but maybe people who are in Pensacola will see that content, which can be helpful depending on what you're trying to do. You can't control the algorithm, but it is helpful to use search engine optimization in your captions and your hashtags if you're trying to reach people in your community. So I always do hashtag Knoxville, hashtag downtown Knoxville, hashtag like Christian inspiration or something like that, just so that I kind of say, hey, Instagram, this is what you're working with right now.
But this also affects, because they're showing it to people who aren't linked to you, then our content shouldn't be aimed at our members. It should be aimed at non-members.
Exactly. Or both.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, you are right. And I'll talk about how we can still connect with our members through social media in just a couple slides. I'm trying not to be impatient, but I did already click the thing, and I know if I click it again, it's going to be like, whose problem? Is this my fault? Is this my computer? You seem to know what you're doing. I'm just looking at you because you said the one thing and you were right.
Tori's my daughter. Tori Thibodeau.
Oh, nice.
So I'm her nerd.
I love it. Okay, so what should we be posting? Consistently. We should be posting consistently. And when I say I want this to work in your context, consistency is a huge part of that. Consistency is whatever it means for you. I post on my social media platforms, or the ones that I run, 2 to 3 times a week. I do not post every day because I know that I cannot consistently post every day. It does not mean you have to post at 9 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That is not what it means. It just means to keep a consistent rhythm of what you can keep up with. And maybe try once a week. And if you can do that for a month, try twice a week. If you can do that for a month, 3 times a week. The more you post, the more opportunity there is for people to see your content. So posting more is better, but posting consistently is more important than posting a lot and then going dead for a month while you get back from being overwhelmed. And I am do as I say, not as I do, because I get real stoked about something and I will just post, and then forget about it for a week. I am not very good at this, but it is a best practice, if you will, to know your own rhythm, know your own self, post what you can post in your context. And here's how I help myself do that. My 3 posting categories are truth. That is, sometimes I lie. Just kidding. But that is quotes from our sermon the last weekend or two. That is verses from scripture. That is maybe diving into a part of the confession or the Lord's Prayer, just like easy things that you can dive into a little bit more and share with your community. Doing reels that are verses, like encouraging verses for people, I'll show you later how very easy that is. And it's a way to consistently kind of be that voice of truth on the feed of the people that you're reaching. My second posting category is glimpses of life at our church. Either reminding people of the community that they are in, or like I said, this is a search engine. It's kind of giving people an opportunity to see accurately who our church is. So on Sunday mornings, I think I actually have a slide about this, so maybe we'll just glance at it later, but I'm going to say it right now. On Sunday mornings, I like to get 5 videos that day. And you can do this, or you can ask somebody else to pop in and help you with this. But the 5 videos I like to get are an outside shot of my church while people are coming in. I like to get a shot of the music happening, which is consistently the hardest one because I often serve on the worship team. And I often have to ask somebody else to get a shot of that for me. I like to get a shot of our pastor, whether he is preaching or giving communion or doing a baptism, whatever's happening that day, get a shot of my pastor. And then I like to get 2 shots of just people hanging out, getting coffee, chatting, bonus points if they seem a little happy about it. Okay? Those are the 5 shots. Yes?
Can you repeat that?
I will definitely repeat it because I definitely have it later on in the presentation, and I am going out of order. Who knows what's going to happen after this, you guys, but it felt relevant. But that's
Videos, but then you said shots.
videos.
Short videos, like 3 seconds.
3 seconds. I'll say it one time for you, though. Outside of my church, a shot of the music, a video of the music, a video of my pastor, and then 2 videos of people connecting, whether it's coffee or hanging out or getting their kids to get permission before you put kids on the internet, but things like that. We do have when you sign up for Kids Point, that's what we call our kids thing, I have them sign a waiver so that I don't have to worry about ruining lives. Yes?
We've had issues with adults complaining about having that picture taken. We were live streaming our Bible study.
If you have a personal person who's upset with that, I would try to be respectful. But we also will put, as people are coming into our building, we have a disclaimer that says we are live streaming our service. You will have your face on. Legally, you're good. Personally, we can try to respect the people who don't want their faces on the internet. But a lot of times these are kind of wider shots anyway. And if you are getting a shot of people who I like to be just really funny about it. And I'm like, oh, you're on the internet, because I'm not very subtle. I don't know if that's coming across. I can't subtly be like, oh, here's your coffee. I'll be like, we're taking a video of you getting coffee, So that makes it a little more fun. You don't have to feel like you're being creepy or anything. And then the beautiful part of that is those 5 videos you can post straight to your story and kind of give people a live action item of what is happening at your church that day. And it's another way to be posting consistently on social media. So that just helps with glimpses of life at our church. Yes?
So I am a real dummy when it comes to videos.
Yeah.
So do they include audio? How long are they? And what is the difference between posting to your story and just posting a video?
I promise I will get to that.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to say it. Because what if I don't? What if I forget it? I went out of order and then you're like, I said that 3 times. So posting to your story or posting to your feed is that discovery algorithm. It's going to hit people that do not go to your church and people who do, but it's going to be that discovery algorithm. It's going to sit on your page forever. That is a permanent post on your feed. A story is 24 hours. It is not discovery algorithm. for the most part. You're going to reach the people who are following you. So you can actively talk to the people in your congregation or the people who are following your account personally. You know exactly who you're talking to. You know your audience when you're talking on stories. But they last 24 hours, so it's very much live. It's in the moment. You're saying this is what's happening at our church right now. They don't have to be as curated. So in that case, for stories, sometimes I'll put some music over it, especially if I'm going, there's a camera in front of you. Everybody seem happy, you know. I don't want people to hear that. I'm obnoxious. So I'll put a little like, Ben Rector has a little Sunday morning song I like to use a lot, or like maybe a worship song, or just some type of music over that completely cuts out the audio on your story. On stories, you can link anybody, no matter how many followers you have, can put a link on your story. Ours doesn't get clicked that often, but I'm like, hey, why not? It links straight to the live stream, so we say, hey, this is happening live. If you want to be a part of it, come join us. It's happening right now on our live stream. So yeah, that's a really simple way to just kind of be in the moment on Sunday mornings, but then you can save. So I take it as a story. I immediately save it so that I can also use it in a reel later that week for a glimpse of life at our church. Next, I also like to highlight our city. So we are in downtown Knoxville. We are a church that wants to be out in our community. We want our community to know us. We want to encourage our congregants to love their community and be out in their community. So I like to just post pictures of my city and videos of my city. We use some of the places people might recognize as the backgrounds of some of our videos that we're putting verses on, or etc. And it just kind of first of all, it helps remind me that I'm not trying to be Elevation Church or Willow Creek Church or King of Kings Omaha. I am trying to be The Point Knoxville, and this is a church that is, I don't need to try to be the coolest church on social media. I'm really just trying to love and serve my community. That posting about my community helps me remember that as the social media coordinator. And I hope it helps remind people to be out there loving their city and supporting those businesses and serving their people and things like that. So whatever your context, I think it's great to also highlight not just your church, but the community that you're in. Sometimes that's brunch. I like to give brunch suggestions, things like that.
After church.
Yeah.
After church brunch.
Yep. I was like, classic church brunch combo. Come to the point, head to Southern Grit, wait for 2 hours, but then you'll have more things to talk about. You guys don't know about Southern Grit. It has a really long wait. Okay, that's all I'm saying right there. You do not need to be the coolest, hippest church. You don't need to try to be like the mega church down the street. Knoxville's full of mega churches. Bible Belt Central. You simply need to serve your people in your context to the best of your ability through the power of the Holy Spirit. And we trust that God is sending this stuff to the people who need to see it. It could be an encouraging moment for somebody. So the next question is, should you post? We already said you should post consistently. I appreciate those 3 categories because it helps keep me in a consistent pattern. But you should also post vertical videos, very practically. Instagram just came out with a thing that said they're going to try to be a little bit more balanced this year about videos versus photos. But across the board, all of these platforms are turning towards vertical videos. So again,
What are vertical videos?
they're literally videos you take vertically.
Oh,
So just like this.
portrait one. Yeah, thank you. Portrait.
Portrait.
I don't say portrait.
Yeah.
Yep, so vertical videos.
Friendly.
What did you say?
Mobile friendly.
Mobile friendly, absolutely. Here is why this is really good news. I'm going to reiterate stuff. For the first time ever, since social media's conception, that feels right. Inception? Was social media not having babies? Okay. It is 1,000% okay to post the same content across platforms because they're all favoring vertical videos. Even Facebook. They were the last on the train, but they're here now. The content of the video is what matters, so beautiful, curated feeds matter less than ever. if your pastor is spitting out an hour, at least 15 minutes of content every single Sunday that you can take from. So be writing notes, be getting videos. If you're live streaming, I just download that, watch through it, and like make little time notes of little things he's saying that are helpful. That can be your entire social media. If you want, that can be it. Just taking what your pastor's saying and putting it on the internet. I think it's better to do a little bit more than that, but that's better than nothing. And it doesn't have to be beautiful. You guys don't have to have Canon cameras and Lightroom downloaded and all these editing. It doesn't matter as much. The content is what matters. And I know we have good content because we have doctrine and, the gospel and Jesus doing stuff in our communities. So the content's there. We just need to share those stories. Oh, did anybody go to Seth Hins's thing? So I wanted to say something about that. When I said those highlights, that's what I've been using as highlights on Instagram of parking, sermon series, events. I actually think that now that I went to that, I'm like, okay, we should think through our story and have our highlights be our story. The things he was talking. So if you went to that, keep that in mind. If you didn't, listen to that because it was a really good message.
Or the website that he uses is storyboard.com.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It has worksheets that help you.
Yeah.
Very, very helpful worksheets. So he went through them in the presentation, but they're super, and I think you're right, they very directly correlate to like Instagram, Facebook,
Yep.
and even just that beyond like your website.
Yep.
So.
Yep. 100%. That's a good one to go back to and listen to, is Seth Hins's story in your website and communications. Okay, and yeah, I'm about to make some hacks to share some hacks. Getting content. This is what we just talked about, but I told you I did out of order. It's going to ruin everything. Sunday mornings, these 5, I said 5 second. That could be as easy if you want. But I use the stories on Instagram to get my content, and that can be, I think, up to a minute now. So you can make these videos as long or as short as you want, but if you're running around like a crazy chicken with their head cut off, which I understand, I'm there too, 5-second videos are going to be what you need to get those reels. Or recruit someone to do that for you.
So if you use stories on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
to get them, then how do you get them over to Facebook?
So 2 things. You can post your story on Instagram and have it set up. Hold on, I'll show you. So when you take this story, you can connect it to Facebook automatically. Like you can link your Facebook and Instagrams together because they are owned by the same company. I just said I was going to show you, and I realized I'm on my Knoxville page, and that will not make any sense.
Well, if you go into business suites, like that helps you do a lot.
Yes, yes. I'm afraid of business suites because that's what got hacked, but it really is important, and you should use it. It's really powerful.
Facebook. Well, it's a separate app.
It's called Meta.
Yes, yes.
And they have their own app, and you can link your Facebook and Instagram together.
But you have to remember
Yep.
to select your Instagram.
Yep.
Automatically do it.
Yep.
Mine is automatically selected.
Oh, really? I gotta figure that out. Mine doesn't do that. So.
I think it depends on
On the
updates.
mobile app, it automatically has both selected. If I'm using it on the desktop, you have to manually
That's
select.
probably what it is then.
Yep.
It's a huge time saver because you only have to make your post once, and then you just click, I'm gonna post this to Facebook
Yep.
and to Insta, and then it does it. It just,
And they have a whole calendar, so you can schedule posts in advance
Mhm.
and then send it to both.
yes.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then you can do all 3 of your posts that week
Yep.
on Monday
Yep.
and schedule them for Wednesday and Friday.
I do suggest, if you're going to schedule your posts, to also put alerts in your calendar so that you can see it post, you can engage in whatever way, make sure it's still relevant, and not just have it be a sideline thing, but you can totally post on it, you can totally schedule it, just mark, oh, I'm going to check in on that, make sure I'm responding to any comments or things like that.
And some things work, and some things don't.
Yeah.
For Lent, we're doing the parables, so I have it scheduled for a nugget from that parable,
Mm-hmm.
pop up each, and I already know what it is. So we have all those scheduled out for the month.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Because you don't have to like, you know what it's going to be.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
unless the pastor goes crazy and changes his mind.
And that's why we get an alert. Oh. Yeah.
The Holy Spirit spoke to me. I'm changing my sermon.
Why didn't this 18 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Or
He didn't tell me.
Or something happened in your community in your sermon.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I had some social posts on a business site that went out automatically that were very badly timed.
Absolutely. I've seen that happen too, where it's like something huge happened, like a devastation, and someone had like and you're like, read the room. Yeah. Like, so definitely not against scheduling, but also just keeping an eye on it, keeping it front of mind.
And we only schedule like scripture because that you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Even if it's not relevant, it's relevant.
Yeah.
Is it not? Yeah. Oh, it wasn't about the sermon. Okay, it's still good.
Okay, I think I already said that too. Yeah. Okay, here's a big hack that I use all the time is reel templates. If you go onto Instagram and you go click the little reels thing, you might have to scroll for a second, but here, two ones in, I have this little use template. You can click that template and you're going to get to that. To this. Click add media, and those 5 videos you took on Sunday, you can just pop those in there, add maybe a text, like I put, this is your sign to hang out between Sundays. It was a video of one of our Connect groups. That was it. I didn't have to do anything. The audio's already up there. They're already cut to a place that makes sense with the audio. You just have to put in the videos that you took that Sunday, or that you had someone else take for you. You didn't have to do it even. It's the best hack. Here's another little hack. The points reels, every single one of them turns into a template. So if you don't want to look around for them, just come to the Point Knox, our Instagram page. Every single reel we post is a template. So I got you.
So you make, see, I'm just so ignorant about some of
No, I got these. This is what we're here for.
So you make the reels on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can post that both places.
Yes.
Because I tried making a reel on Facebook once, and I put in like 4 things, and it didn't show all of them.
I think Facebook's still learning how to be a Reels platform.
Okay.
It's really new.
Okay.
So anytime there's a big update, it's going to be really buggy.
Okay.
I would guess that within a few months, Facebook's probably going to be a perfectly adequate place to make them. But for now, I would use Instagram for the templates alone. But there are also, if you want to get fancy with it, there are plenty of other video editing apps out there. I think Vllo is one. CapCut is one. If you use DaVinci Resolve for any of your video stuff, that's great. There's plenty of out there. But again, social media for dummies, this is the easiest way to just pop in your content, throw something on top of it, and go. And again, I don't even know. I don't know if I clicked something, but every single time I post a reel, it's a template. So just take advantage of the situation. Yes?
So our pastor does 3 lectionary posts to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And they're permanent, right? They stay there forever. So you can scroll down and see what happened 4 months ago. How do you get his work out to Instagram?
You can save it and post it to Instagram. If he's already posting them, you can save it and post it over there.
I would need to have an administrator account to save it on Facebook.
Is it a video or a...
It's the verse and picture.
You should be able to just save that no matter who you are.
Save it down.
Yeah, save it as a photo to your computer. Copy and paste
The whole post?
Yeah, I think you can do that. If feel free to come and show me afterwards, but I feel pretty confident that you can just copy and paste that over to Instagram.
Well, I don't have an Instagram yet.
Oh, that's your first thing. That'll be the first thing. Get your churches on Instagram.
And I don't have TikTok. I have Facebook.
That's okay. We're doing this is social media for dummies. One step at a time. One step at a time.
So one of the things on Facebook, when you're looking at a picture or and you click on that, and you click on the 3 dots above and save that photo. I can't find a way of saving it from Instagram onto your computer.
True. So to hack that, you can take a screenshot. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
A snippet.
A snippet? Is that what you said?
A snippet, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you, and I'm not trying to like jump ahead.
Yeah.
Are you gonna chat about how to utilize TikTok well?
So TikTok, you can use the same situation. So you can either download a reel. If you want to do it for real, the easiest way, post it, download it, put it on TikTok. It's going to have a little Instagram thing floating around. That's the easiest way. You can really take your one post, put it everywhere. To make the next step, you can take the idea of your reel and go over to TikTok, click the videos that you want to be a part of it. It can sync them automatically, and you can put that same idea on TikTok, but with TikTok's own library of fonts, which just looks less like a poser. But either way, depending on your own workload, your own situation, you know what will work for you. Whether you just want to download it right away or throw it up on TikTok and have it be a little bit more curated to that platform.
And with your 3 posts a week, are you saying you do that on all 3 platforms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, ideally.
Yeah.
In theory, yeah.
There's a lot of churches that post like 2 to 3 times a day, and I'm just like.
I don't think that's necessary.
Because I
Yeah.
go on there, I'm like, you're not getting any views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not a whole lot of interaction because then you're drowned out.
100%.
It's boring.
Yeah. I think that there was. I have some resources at the end that'll be helpful for keeping up with some of these changes. I think that was really valuable a few years ago, and I just don't think it's the same anymore.
And
Yeah.
that's what I was looking for, because we would do about 3 times a week, but I'm like, is that enough?
I think so. Again, the more you post, there is a limit to that, but the more you post, the more people will see it. So that, in theory, is really good. But I do think that posting 2 to 3 times a week is perfectly
Do you have
fine.
that built into a routine, like Monday, Thursday, Sunday?
Sort of. So I'm in kind of a weird position where I work part-time at my church and part-time at the Nudenox business. So I already have my life very scheduled I post this on Monday. I do a little recap usually on Mondays. And then I post for the church on Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when I'm in the office thinking about it. But that can be different for anybody, especially if you're scheduling ahead of time.
But were you concerned with it always being, like, the question is too consistent doesn't catch people sometimes. So we've had that discussion, like, should it always be this? But then it's like the consistency also builds that rhythm into your followers' lives. Oh, what's their post? It's Monday. So I don't know.
I'm not convinced followers ever think that way.
I know.
That's the biggest thing for me, because I'm like, so the Nudenox is also where I get a lot of this information, and the 2 girls I work with, they're like, let's do this, let's get them all, let's do this bingo, and I'm like, let's remember, people are seeing our stuff while they're scrolling on the toilet. You know, they're not like, ooh, they're posting today, what's it going to be? Unless it's really insane stuff. Maybe your pastor does like a huge blog or like a really, maybe if you're doing like a reel or TikTok series that's about hard-hitting subjects or hard questions, like maybe that's the case, but what's more likely is people are stumbling upon your stuff and you're hoping it can be a good, heart-filled, Christ-centered moment, right? That's what we're hoping for.
So my next staff meeting will call in and you can say that.
Yeah.
She said it too. I just got a post.
Yeah.
Recorded.
It's recorded right here. How many times is she going to use the word toilet? Okay. But again, you know your context and you know your people. So that's the biggest part.
Yeah, I think if I can just add just a little smidge to that. So I work at a Christian camp, at a Meloma camp in Illinois. And we have struggled with consistency with our social media platforms. And I started on as the development director in April. And I was totally overwhelmed because I was not even on Facebook personally. So I'm like, I don't know how to do any of this. So we did create a rhythm to hold ourselves accountable. Mm-hmm. And then we noticed that we were getting engagement on certain posts that did have that rhythm. So like, for example, I post for alumni. I post every Wednesday for alumni. I get engagement from my alumni on Wednesday because they know to look for that post, right? But that's them.
Yeah.
For our programming staff, for schools, for campers, for people who are looking for summer programming, they're not looking on a scheduled basis. So that's more organic. But we do say, like, okay, alumni, you have to post once a week. I've told everybody, stay away from Wednesdays because I want Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
it does depend on your content and your audience, but some of it does need to be organic because that's just the nature of whatever you're putting out there. And then other things, I mean, our alumni are almost older than I am. You know? So it's a different group of people, and they like to know that, ooh, Wednesday morning she's going to post a new picture. It's going to be a different summer staff of 1976 or whatever. So it's kind of fun that way. So it does depend on your content, and it can feel so overwhelming. I mean, I'm still like such a baby at this. That's why I'm here. I feel like this is an AA moment, right? Social media, but it's true. Like, there's just so much that you can get overwhelmed with. So it's like kind of picking a thing, doing it for a while to hold yourself consistent.
100%.
And then do a little more of that experimenting. I know that's just.
I think that's very true. And yeah, if being consistent means that you have an alert that says every Wednesday I do this, then do that. The place where you should not be consistent, in my opinion, is Instagram stories that you can also put onto Facebook stories. You can also you can do TikTok stories as well. But that's separate. You'll have to do it on the platform. But those you want to be in the moment, organic, real, and in that case, that is not scheduled. So that's. And sometimes I'm not at every event our church does, so I'll text somebody I know is there and say, hey, no pressure, can you get like a 5-second video just so I can say, hey, this is happening, how fun is that, you know? And everyone is totally fine with doing that.
Like this video, do you typically do more video than photography? You know?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're just finding on Facebook, like we're getting more response from our members with photos. Videos they're not responding to.
Videos are new on Facebook, but I think that's the direction it's going. I don't ask other people to take photos because other people take really bad photos. I take photos of our church because I know what I want the photos to look like. And I just think that there is more grace with videos across the board because you can put them in a really quick little sequential. You can have them have a little more content so that the beauty isn't necessary, it's the content. And with photos, I feel like the beauty is still necessary. And so if you are good at taking photos, take photos. You can put them into Reels, you can put them into Facebook, you can put them into albums. They still serve a purpose for sure. But I think a hard to see blurry photo with like the lighting not right, which we can't all be photographers. I married one. That's so handy, you guys. If I have a biggest tip, marry someone who's better at this stuff than you are. You will get better at it. But videos have a lot more grace. So that's why I tend to ask people for videos or promote it. Yeah. Yeah.
When you were talking about only posting 3 times a week, were you talking across all platforms?
I was, only because you can take that same post and post it on all the platforms. So I post 3 times a week, but that same post is happening on Instagram and Facebook. And then TikTok, sometimes I'll put it over to TikTok, but a lot of times I'll try to make my own thing on TikTok because it is different. But you can still do that and have a presence there.
But you're not talking about posting within your church's group on Facebook.
Correct.
Because that could be more often whenever there's something coming up.
Yes, it can. Okay. Absolutely.
So just, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Back to your photography versus video. How do you feel about videos that are static pictures, you know, the kind of the collage, or sort of like Facebook does a little bit?
Yeah.
Are those good, bad?
I think
I mean, how do those play on Instagram and TikTok?
I think that's a perfectly good utilization of the glimpses into your church. Okay. I think that's the Instagram algorithm will sometimes change, sometimes say that those are great, sometimes not. So I can't tell you how they're going to perform necessarily because that kind of thing changes. But I do think that someone coming to your page and seeing a series of photos will show them the culture of your church. And that's kind of the goal for those kinds of things. So feel free. That's what I like to, because I still love taking photos. So I'm like, I want to figure out a way to utilize these photos I'm taking because I find joy in that.
So how much time do you spend on the church?
On the church's social media?
Yes. I mean, doing it as your job. Is it 20 hours or more?
Well,
No.
the boss is here, so.
He's not anymore. No, I'm in charge of all things communications, and I work 2.5 days a week.
Were you hired to do that?
I was sort of. I was an intern, and they were like, "You're in charge of the social media now." Hold on. They were like, "You're in charge of social media." So I did it like as just kind of on the side, and then I kind of fell in love with it and started doing it more. Guys, I'm a mess. Don't look at all the things that are happening. And then I was the worship leader for a while and communications. And then last year I stepped down from worship leading in order to focus on that business that I started a little bit more because I was dying. And now I just do communication. So it kind of like grew into that. I was originally hired as a DCE.
Do you have total control over that?
I do have total control.
You can't go in there.
Other people have access. I think it's not a bad thing for other people to have access because that does save you from, I don't know, it's accountability, things like that. But I definitely have full control of it. And I have the benefit of my pastor hates social media.
He's not gonna interfere with you.
Nah, he does not want to touch it.
Such a well-rounded education.
You what?
Where'd you get such a well-rounded education to be able to do that?
Google? Oh, I mean Concordia. No, Concordia taught me how to be a great youth ministry DCE, and I never did it.
Which Concordia?
Whoosh, Texas. Big fan. Texas, but I don't. You guys, why isn't it showing up?
Because you need to click on the file folder up there.
What? Oh. Here, isn't this helpful? You don't have to be good at technology at all to run social media pages. I'm not going to lie. My husband was like, we are doing a master class on technology because I can't handle that. And I was like, are you planning on divorcing me? Like, we are together. You will be helping me with technology forever. There's no need for me to learn this. And he's going to get a kick out of this. Let me tell you. Where were we? Okay, Canva. Does anybody use Canva? Yay! Yes! Take advantage of Canva.
I was gonna say,
What is Canva?
the Canva Pro for nonprofits is free.
It's
Free!
It's free.
Yeah, it's really
How
good.
did we get there?
I just started
It was
diving
easy. It
into
took
it.
me like 2 clicks.
Because I have not found the nonprofit side of it. I just found the pro, and they're all yelling at me. They're like, "You're spending so much money on Canva."
So I just found out some other people had an issue getting like nonprofit approved.
Yeah.
I found this out from someone older than me, so awesome. They went on Facebook, Canva's Facebook page, and went in their Messenger and talked to someone on Messenger,
Okay.
and they helped them, and it took 24 hours and they're approved.
I was in that same
Yeah.
class. Yeah, that was great
Now,
info.
I do have a thought question about that. Canva's not-for-profit status is very much, this is not for schools. So you have to be careful if you have a school attached. I don't know, has anybody figured out how to get around that? Or do you just use it anyway with it? But they're very specific. We only to use this for your not-for-profit, your church, not your school side. I don't know why.
I don't have insight on that.
So can you tell those of us who don't know what Canva is?
Yes, absolutely. So Canva is if this is social media for dummies, Canva is graphic design for dummies. It's very user-friendly. And if you can get to the free Nonprofit Pro, it's worth it because you can resize any image you make for what you need it for.
They have a huge library of photos, of fonts, of backgrounds, of graphics, and you can put it in any size you
They have
want. You can
templates.
save it as a PDF
They
or
make you
as
look
an
really
image.
good.
Yeah, they make you look like you know what
They
you're
make
doing.
you look like a graphic designer.
Okay, and right now I'm going to literally show you how to make a reel on Canva or a TikTok or whatever you want to call it once you're good at it, 3 minutes. Okay? It might take a second. I'm not gonna, but
It's a rabbit hole though too.
here we go. So we have our color palette in there, but you can choose whatever color you want. It doesn't have to be in any type of palette because, like we said, curation doesn't matter as much as it used to. I look up photo frame. Look how great this is, you guys. You can pick whatever kind of frame you want. I'm trying to go fast here, so I didn't think too hard about it, okay? I liked this frame. I have already downloaded my pastor's sermon from Sunday from our live stream. If you don't have access to that, I would suggest doing it. Otherwise, you already have some clips, hopefully, from his sermon. Right there. It's really easy to trim it if it's not exactly where you want it to be. It is important to know, like, Reels are 1.5 minutes, I think. TikToks are 3 minutes. Facebook only has 1 minute, so that's important to know the difference between those platforms. The safest thing to do is just make it 1 minute so you know it can hit all of those platforms. So that's that, and then all I have to do once I'm in the
I catch you.
Yep. And once I'm in the platform itself, I put a quote up there or some type of thing to get people to listen. And then I do auto-generated captions right there that you can get within the Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok app.
What do you mean auto-generated?
You just click a little button that says captions, and it's going to scroll through and put them in there for you. Yep.
That's like
It will-
closed captioning.
Yeah, but do you need to watch it? I mean, some caption
Yes.
folks, I mean, especially with sermons where he's using words that are not normal.
Yeah. So that's kind of up to you.
It's gonna go into the video and find words?
It listens. No, it listens to
It listens.
It's like
It will
Watching
basically
closed
type what
caption
he's
TV.
saying.
the robots can hear everything now.
That's true.
It's amazing.
So
They're actually pretty good. Yeah.
reading the captions is kind of up to you. I think there's kind of a grace that people say, oh, this is a caption. Maybe it doesn't have the right words.
It can go viral because there's been some really funny ones.
Yes, exactly. What I will tend to do is just go in and maybe like capitalize God, or if like our church's name isn't correct, maybe I'll do something like that. But I don't know that even that's not necessary because, again, there's this grace of captions are captions. We don't all have the time to go through 1.5 minutes and make sure it's all right, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
earlier you talked about when you're doing your videos and you're speaking to people, smile, you're drinking coffee, and you wanted to overlay the music. Can you go in and detach audio and replace in this?
Yeah, so if you're in Canva and you want to do that, you can easily turn off the volume and add a video. But you can also, if you go to Instagram, you can also do that in the app as well. And TikTok and Facebook, I guess. I know they're a little clunky still.
So go ahead and type something.
What?
Can you just finish it?
This is a video.
This is a video.
Yeah, I did this ahead of time.
Oh.
She didn't do it live.
I know. I'm a total faker.
Gonna text.
But if you do want to see the auto captions, just come up to me afterwards and I'll show you how.
And just as a plug for captions, like that is, it seems like an extra step, I know, for a lot of people, but something that I learned just being a social media user. One, it's helpful, but it's also it's an accessibility piece, because there are a lot of social media users who are deaf, and that's how they get that content. And so it's just making it that one more step to making sure that your content is accessible and that you as a community are accessible
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And sometimes people like to watch videos without the sound, so they read the captions.
Well, like during a class.
Yeah. Who all is on their phones right now?
Or they're at work.
Yeah.
Or they're, people are looking at it all the time.
And this is really practical, but I said, and we might still do it, but I was talking to my pastor and I was like, we need better quality vertical video. Our live stream is this way. It's an old camera. When I make it vertical, it is grainy and just small, just rough. If you go into Canva and you do this little thing, it's not ideal. It's better if you can get great quality, but we're all, I don't know. I'm in a small church. I don't know where y'all are at. So for the time being, doing this little frame and then putting the captions here and a thing there is a perfectly viable hack to have poorer quality videos and still have a perfectly fine post throughout the week. So that's what that's for. And the captions are not just they're accessible, and they just make it so there's not a big bunch of nothing on the bottom of the screen. So it's a double Two birds with one stone. Okay, here's another option for, and we're going to start from a little bit farther back this time because I realized I'd cut that off. Another option for Canva Reels. So this is how you'll start from the very beginning, is go to Create Design. This is where I forgot I typed in presentation, so that was a little confusing. Oh, there I am, Instagram Story. You literally click Instagram Story, and that's going to take you to the vertical video. Click Video. If you have the free Pro, you can pick any video you want. I clicked Mountains. That looked like a great mountain to me. So you don't even have to, if you don't have to get your own content even, you know? I typed in a verse. I would use, whether it's just an encouraging verse that you like, whether it's one that you guys are talking through on Sunday mornings, whatever that may be. Sorry this is taking so long. What verse do we think it is? Ooh. Okay, good. So you could also do this within the app. You could just download that video in the vertical video and put this text in the library font from Instagram or TikTok or whatever. That's also perfectly fine. You don't have to do it within Canva. So once you're there, then you can click Animate and just make this a little more interesting. There's a bunch of options. We chose the typewriter here, so now there you go. That happened so fast. And it was not hard because I did not have to come up with the sentence. I think David did that. And I didn't have to come up with the video because Canva provided that. Oh, he's a king. Great guy. Okay, guy. Redeemed.
Amen.
And then you can just download that and then put some audio or music behind it in the app that you are in. So that's super simple. You can make 3 of those. Boom.
In your libraries, how much is religious substance, like the old icons or
Oh,
pictures or?
I don't know that there's a lot. Is there?
There's a bunch.
Okay.
Actually, you can find a lot of stuff. Like, I typed in transfiguration,
Right.
and there weren't a lot, but there were a few. But if you type in baptism, a whole bunch, both photos and graphics. So it just kind of depends.
But I think as
Yeah.
more churches use it,
That's true. Yeah.
like
They're adding to the libraries probably.
I think,
So that's why they want us to do free.
Yeah. Well, take it while we got it. Okay, we only have like 10 more minutes, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to just power through now to, we're near the end, and then if you have more questions, please stick around and ask them, but I'm going to try to, probably should have timed this, guys. Probably should have timed this. I did commit to that. Yes, I did. So if new people are always seeing our content, how are we connecting with our people? It's like we said, the vast majority of this is just going out into the internet. Facebook, utilize private Facebook groups. If you haven't already, do that when you get home. Because that is how your congregation will stay connected. Maybe not yours, but a lot of ours will. Yes.
Can they share outside of the group then? So if you post it inside of the group, can they share it to their page?
I don't think so. It depends on your privacy settings. So for us, we did not have it private, and we were getting really random people, bots, all this kind of stuff, that I decided to make it super private so that we knew this was a safe place for our people to come with requests. They were able to maybe put their address in there where otherwise they wouldn't. Prayer requests. In order to not make it clicky, we still put that Facebook group invite in all of our newsletter, or at least one or two newsletters a month. We talk about it on Sundays. We try to make it accessible so people know it's there, so it's not like a weird inward group. But I do think it's important to be private. Your public page is where people can share everywhere and have it be more of the public facing. And then the private is really a place to connect. We have a pinned post at the very top of ours that says, like, how long have you been coming to the point? What neighborhood in Knoxville do you live in? And like one more fun fact. And that kind of gets people talking when they're new to the group. Someone says, oh, I'm like 2 minutes away from you. That's so cool. Oh, that's a fun fact. Turns out I've been coming here as long as you have, and I've never met you. You know, it's a good little place for connections right off the bat. And there are no rules with Facebook groups. I wouldn't let it go dead for a really long time, or else no one will utilize it. But you don't have to post 3 times a week. You don't have to do anything specific. We do some fun, maybe conversation starters or something. And besides that, it's used for prayer requests. It's used to remind people of events. It's used to, oh, this guy's moving. Is anybody able to help him move on Saturday? That kind of stuff. On Instagram, I would utilize Instagram stories. Like we said, that is a great place for people that you know who are following you to stay connected to your content. And this I do already have on the thing, on the Hoover app? Hoover? But here are a bunch of options that we use to stay engaged and keep people engaged throughout the weeks. And this might feel overwhelming. Don't worry about it if you don't find it fun. But it is a fun way to connect with people. So we do verse of the day graphics. We do polls around our church. Do you prefer to sit in the front or the back? Do you like the bathroom right here, or do you like the bathroom with the weird, wallpaper? We do fun facts about our staff. We've done, this was really easy when I was the worship leader, but I would do sometimes like a March Madness type poll of some of the upcoming songs and say, hey, the winner is going to be in our worship set in 3 weeks. So, you guys get to choose one of the songs we're singing. Talk with whoever does your worship before you do something like that, but it was really handy when I was the one doing both. We post our Sunday set list on usually the week before, so that if there's a new song, people can start learning it, or just feel familiar, because obviously it's more fun when everyone's singing along. And then we have, Instagram also gives you question boxes, which we use for a wide variety of things, sharing memories, leaving prayer requests. One of my favorite things to do is say, leave a one-word prayer request, so you don't have to think through all the hard things. You just say, help, or peace, or thanks, stuff like that. Look around you right now. What are you grateful for? What's one thing that stuck out to you from Sunday's message? And I don't know about y'all, I'm in a small church. We're not getting 50 responses, but it's a way for maybe a couple people to think through or stay connected or whatever it is. And it doesn't take a lot of time out of my day, because Instagram's already set me up for success. I can just post a picture, put that question over it, and let the Holy Spirit do what the Holy Spirit wants to do. And it's pretty simple.
And you do it as an Instagram post?
Story. This is very specifically to stories.
Okay.
Because all these things, well, not all these things, but like polls, those are on Instagram stories. Okay. As a thing that you don't have to worry about it. You just type in the words you want to put. They have the poll thing situated. Question boxes, that's on Instagram. That's not something you have to come up with besides the content. Yes?
Stories are not totally private, right? They're not like the private Facebook group. Anyone can follow you. And once they follow you, they can see your stories.
True. Okay. So that's why, so with the prayer request, we say we promise to pray, and we promise to keep it anonymous. We're not going to post the one word. We might post that, If you're putting a prayer request in a question box, we make it very clear on the front end that we're not going to be posting your prayer request, because we don't know their situation necessarily. So while it is, private, no, you're good. It's private in that it's only the people who are following you who are going to see it, but you're right, there might be people following you that aren't active members of your congregation.
2 minutes.
Whew, okay. Oh, we're here at the end, you guys. Wow. Helpful resources. Wow. Right in the nick of time. Helpful resources. Brady Shearer and Pro Church Tools I am shocked he does as much as he does for free. Really, really helpful resource. Periodically listen to the Pro Church Tools podcast. It's fun, it's lighthearted, and it keeps you up to date with things like the discovery algorithm. Really big picture stuff like that. Really helpful resource. They're 30 minutes. If you can listen to that maybe even once a month, you'll be in a good spot. I really like following Brock 11 Johnson on Instagram. He keeps things pretty tangible for me, little nuggets here or there, good encouragement. Keeps me up to date on Instagram trends. SundaySocial.tv on Instagram or Facebook is fun because they'll often do challenges. They'll say, okay, post a reel this week that has to do with blah, blah, blah. It just kind of keeps things fresh in your own mind. And then if you do need more things than Canva can give you, Unsplash.com has a library of free stock images that's super helpful. I promise I'll put all this on the Whova app. And then finally, I'm here right now if you have more questions, and you can also contact me at all of these spots.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
You keep saying you have a small church. What does that mean?
So we have like 100 to 150 each Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, we have a church, school, and childcare. We all have our own social media pages. Do you feel it would be benefit, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, well, maybe like combine them all into one, and then like the stories, like the highlights. Here's the school, here's the church, here's the childcare, but then.
Are you in charge of all of them?
No, our principal's here. Or he was? Is he still?
Early Learning Center, not childcare.
We just changed it, but, so like I control our ELC, he controls the school, and then
Absolutely.
our pastor does, or somebody does the church, but it's all different pages, and then we have a youth group page, and
Yeah.
so like, would it be more beneficial to kind of combine those under one umbrella, and us three main people kind of have that posting power, have a plan moving forward?
That is a good question. I would probably still keep the school and church separate. I think that it's such a cool part of the church that the church should still post about it. But with school, you're probably talking to parents a lot, right? And like, are you utilizing it in that way? Okay.
Like it's, our town is 12,
Cute.
It's super cute. No, it's a great little community, but like it is small, and I think like we post. I've tried to post a lot, but then I have dead. Well, like I posted. I was really convicted. I haven't posted.
It is time.
Except we did do stories while we were here. Yeah, I think like.
Oh, I'm gonna turn off the recording.